Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge the Lands Forever. Today, I have a 6v6 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 up here to the north, ending with Team 2 down here in the south. Also, it is nice to read the names on the right side of the screen, because it is not dark colors, so we have green team and yellow team, but probably we'll just say Team 1 and Team 2 for now. But I'm going to slow down just so we can introduce everybody without missing any of the action. We'll start off with the first player on Team 1. On the eastern side, we have Sorcery going first land, as a Cybran has some issues with building his first factory for some reason, and he is in Emerald Green as a Cybran, and he is a 1300. To his west, another Cybran for Team 1. It is Spectre Slave 137. Spectre Slave for short. He is going first land, and he is in Forest Green, very sensible color, and he is a 1600. To his northwest, we have the player of Nightly going first land as the third Cybran for Team 1, and he is a 1700 in the color Rust. And I don't think I'll have an adjective for the color of Rust. I think it'll just be Rust, because I think it very much sums up the color. It's not rust orange, it's just rust. And to his southwest, we have the player of BJ. He's going first land as the first Aeon player of the game and for Team 1. And he is a 900 in Snow White. To his west, we have Insulner. Yeah, Insulner. I think we'll call him Insol for short. He's going first land in Chevy Crimson as a Seraphim, and he is a 1200. And last but not least, for Team 1, we have the player of Kane going first land as the fourth Cybran for Team 1 in Batman Gray, and he is another 1700. I think I said that already, but he is another 1700. And for Team 1, for their racial makeup, we have 4 Cybrans, a Seraphim, and a UEF player. So no Aeon technology for Team 1. Down here in the south for Team 2, starting off with the player of Mechs, using some leet speech to say his name, I'm assuming correctly. Going first land as a as a Seraphim, going second air as well in Tropical Ocean Blue. He is a 1300. Maybe he likes Myconites. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, to his east, we have Touch My Omen going first air. Very surprising. Usually it's first land, then for second air, but it's the other way around here. It is second land for Touch My Omen. And he is in Ruby Red as a Seraphim as a 1500. To his southeast, we have System Fair scooping up that rock here next to his main base. He is a Cybran for Team 2 in Royal Blue, and he is a 1700. To his northeast for Team 2, already on the move, even with -2 sim speed, we have Ramper going first land, second land as well in Glow in the Dark. Actually, that is not Glow, that is Pac-Man Yellow, and he is a 1100 as a UEF. To his east in orange, the color orange, we have Mythologist going first land, second land as well, and he is an 1100 as a Seraphim. And last but not least, the only Aeon player of the game, and this is for Team 2, it is No Fear 555, also known as No Fear, is how I will refer to him in this game. He is going first land, again, as an Aeon. He is an 1800, the highest ranked player in the game, and he is in Light Oak Tan. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reclaim before our players scoop it up. It is 2010. Not a lot of reclaim. Probably wasn't even, maybe 2100, maybe? But not a lot of mass for our players to scoop up. And in terms of mass points, I'll go back to 0 so we can get the game going. In terms of mass point layout, we really don't have a whole lot going for us. This game, we have, a group of 6, but they're kind of spread out here in the middle. A couple on these upper plateaus, and a couple of mexes on the, the north and south sides of the, middle cut of the map. But besides that, that's really about it. There's really not a lot of players to go after. So I feel like a lot more players are going to focus on building up their own ecos at their own base, or they'll try to at least deny ecos for their opponent, which will most likely lead to strap bomber rushes or just a lot of T1 bombers. But I feel like it's going to be a lot focused on building up ecos quickly and getting to those T3 and T4 stages in this game. We have a group of 3 comms, fourth one in tow here for Team 1 on this western side. We have 3 comms here on this eastern side with the player of Touch My Omen going straight up the middle here. We do have his partner of Mike's further behind, but of course he started a little bit to the west. It is going to take him a minute to catch up, but this will give him enough time to do so. It is a gun speed and range for Touch My Omen. He hasn't fired a shot. He hasn't taken damage, and he's already going for an upgrade. This is a decent, it's actually kind of a small map for 12 players, to be fair. Not even 20 by 20, probably maybe even 15 by 15 max. There's no way it's any bigger than that. So it's a very tight area, not a lot of mexes, a lot of players, so it's going to be a lot of hot octane action here for this game, or at least that's what everyone watching currently is hoping for. And of course, I do make sure that there's no desyncs, or if there is a desync, it's like doesn't even, affect the match in terms of who wins. There isn't a desync, at least that I remember. No, there isn't a desync. But anyway, so we should see a nice match here for today, which is Wednesday is when this video goes out. We did have a couple of drops here for Team 1's player of Kane in the middle. Built a nice land facility. Got radar online. Has PD, of course, to protect from counter drops. We have, I think this was a distance build by Insular. That's kind of nice to have. There is a backup for that Western Plateau. Team 2 hasn't gone for theirs, which is kind of a missed opportunity. It is a couple of mexes that they could go after, but the comms are going to start colliding here in the middle between No Fear, the highest rated player, and BJ, the lowest ranked player in the game. You would assume that it would only go one way, but No Fear is, as essentially 1v1. There's a couple of units for Rampur, but that's about it. There's not a whole lot of firepower behind Team 2's punches here in the middle so far. We have Rampur on an upgrade for gun damage and range. Of course, he is the UEF, so it is damage and range. And Insulner is a Seraphim, and he is going T2 for those Utashalas. Probably will build some artillery on that upper plateau. At least that would be my guess. Couple of Mantis for Team 1's player of Nightly going after this. T1 Mechs in the middle. And really, it's going to be... This is going to be where a lot of the action will probably take place. There's not a lot of Mexes, like I mentioned earlier. There is it's really the biggest area to fight in, so units don't have to worry about, squeezing between, small valleys. And in T1 stage, it's not an issue because they're small units. You can pack a lot in. When you start getting a couple Colossi or, crabs or that sort of thing, it really kind of messes with the, not trajectory, the movement of the units to kind of have to, bounce into one another and wait for one to move, and pathing. That's the word for it. I remembered. And we have Touch My Omen with No Fear, and we do have the comm of Rampur with, 2 gun comms with 1 very naked, no upgraded commander, no veterancy commander. Does have 36 points of mass killed, but that's about it. All of the comms immediately just retreating for Team 1, just Eco and Texas, Spectre Slave. And honestly, at this stage, that's actually a better idea, because going and attacking for just a couple of mexes, yeah, that's a couple of mexes. It does kind of, increase your eco a little bit, but realistically, this is territory that will be just, Team 2 will take it over, then Team 1 will come back and take it over, then Team 2 will fight for it and take it over. So it's really not going to stay in anybody's hands for a long period of time. We do have Region Ore for Touch My Omen. Very interesting. We do have a land base over here to the west for Team 1's player of Sorcery, just essentially taxing Team 2's player of Mike's to the west. Yes, and now Micro, his forward operating base with his comm and this invasion to the west. It does look like Team 2 is doing a similar thing in the northeast corner. The very similar strategies from these edge play. Actually, this is the edge play here from Mythologist. This is actually the play from Sorcery. So Sorcery getting some, a taste of his own medicine here, the northeast corner. He has really nothing to fight against this. He needs some assistance. There is the commander of Spectre Slave here to the west going for an upgrade, but it is not going to get here pretty soon. And so a lot of this base will go down here for Sorcery. That Team 1 will lose this base. Sorcery is trying to get back to his base, but he is a long ways away. Units are being produced pretty quickly here. Groups of them being thrown at their opponents here to the north. And we even have a couple of these hunters. No, those were... Oh, what are those? The Mech Marines. Those are Mech Marines for the UEF player. But the comms of Team 2 are really pushing it against Team 1. Team 1 has severely damaged commander of Knightly in the yellow, dropping below almost 50% of his hit points. We do have a PD further back, but against 3 commanders, 2 of them with Guncom and Regen, or it does make a difference here for Team 2, and it is really showing it. BJ is really just eating up all those shots, covering for Knightly. BJ needs to keep moving or he is dead. It is 9 minutes so far. Team 1 might be looking to, be losing their first player in this game. We do have, again, success down here to the west here for Team 1, but they have lost sections of their base for Team 1 up there to the north, and BJ does die to triple command, well, more likely double commander, but essentially triple commander here for Team 2, and that is a victory for them. It is now a 6v5 game at 9 minutes here for Team 2. Everything being transferred over to the player of Kane, and that will probably stay in Kane's hands unless he gives that to the player of Insulner. Probably will keep that. Actually, he does gift it over. Very interesting. Wants to probably focus on air production, and he is doing so. He's at T2. I don't mean to keep zooming in and out, but it is a habit I need to at least break. Or not at least break, but at least curtail. But there is a Corsair over the top here for Team 1. That gets rooted out very quickly. And now Team 2 will now own the middle section of the map. They own the eastern side of the middle, and now the only thing they have to conquer is the western side, and Team 1 will be stuck in their upper plateau base. And even so, Team 2 has secured a decent section of Team 1's base, or this upper plateau area. And Team 2, I mean, they're starting to fight back. It's starting to get overrun. It's kind of a mixed bag of things. T2 Voltus are being spammed up here to protect this western environment here for Team 2. They are doing a better job of it. They've dropped... System Failure has renamed himself to a 40-year-old man. It's better than a 40-year-old version if you've ever watched that movie. But we have System Failure here. He is using the naming mod, so will be a few of you down in the comments that will make a comment about that. If you were rooting for Team 2, you can no longer root for Team 2, and those who know that reference, or know that reference to those comments, know that reference. But it does look like those units from Sorcery are diverting to the northeastern section of this plateau, and then maybe we'll go southward. But he needs to move now. Utashalas are being built to prevent their incursion, and more being built as we speak. He needs to push, strike while the iron is hot, as they say. There's a gun, speed and range here for Mike's. He has T2. Nano repair here for Touch My Omen. Man, he is being very aggressive with this commander, and going for regen, nano, and gun. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the middle. But it does look like 2 comms here to the east for Team 1. Sorcery and Spectre Slave. One of them has nothing upgraded on his commander. One of them does have gun. A lot of these units are being dealt with. All those facilities have been taken out. We have a couple of these engineers going for reclaim orders, it looks like, as well as building some AA defenses just to hold off from those engineers being killed. But it does look like Team 2 is starting to pull out. Team 1 still wanting to invest. They are trying to push, but really not getting anywhere. Secondary line of Utashala is being built as we speak. And of course we have System Failure, or 40-year-old man is pushing against them. This base will die here pretty soon. A couple of Corsairs will start softening up those defenses for those ground units and comms to move in and destroy. In terms of ecos so far, we have Team 1 and Team 2 pretty tied. I mean, couple of, mass per second difference, but really it's, kind of fluctuating at the current moment, so it's really hard to exactly tell the numbers. But in terms of total mass accrued, Team 1 by 5,000, which again is nothing in a 6v6 game at 13 minutes. It really is. It's like a penny. It really doesn't matter. You're not going to win the game with 5,000 mass in a 6v6 game with that advantage. You're not. Maybe if it turns into 50, 100, 250, a million, then we're starting to talk about real numbers. But 5K is nothing to stress over. We do have a couple of units starting to form up here on this western side of the map for Team 1. A nice line of Utashalas, a lot better than Cerberus. And they will hold this line pretty well. It doesn't look like there's really any intent for Mike's to push forward. Team 2 is in the lead with comms. They don't need to go after a commander kill. All they have done is handed the eco from BJ over to Insulner. And really, that is really, boosted his eco. He's at almost 110 so far. Team 2 hasn't even cracked 90. Actually, not even cracked 80 yet. And so Team 1, that'll be a huge advantage for them if they can use it. They have a spy plane over the top for Team 2, kind of get some eyes on. I'm looking for any strap bombers. I haven't seen any. I have seen a decent amount of Corsairs so far, but no strap bomber rushes. We have T3 online, of course, here for No Fear. T2 for Team 2's player of System Failure, and of course for the player of Mechs. But that's really about it for the air game. Oh, no. Yeah, no, he's going to move first. Okay. Oh, he's going to go for advanced regen orb, but then cancels it. Looks like he's going to move first and then do it. Who knows? Your gun does finish it for sorcery, so he will help be able to protect this eastern side of his base and the main base for Team 1 in general. Sector clear assist, system failure. Love the call out, the kind of military style call out there. Do love that, letting his teammates know that he has dealt with that annoyance and needs to at least build a couple of AA defenses just to prevent that from happening. Okay, thanks. Just take the Mechs, says Mechs, and that's kind of nice. It does look like he didn't even go for the Mechs, and so one of them. He didn't go for all of them. He just went for at least one of them. That'll boost up his eco a little bit and go for probably T3 air would be my guess, but he's constantly producing Corsairs though. But a nice push from Team 2's player of Ramper, assisting his units, and of course Touch My Omen's commander has nano, regen, and gun. Team 1's forces have to retreat. There are some hoplites, there's some missile launchers in there. There's a couple of ASFs starting to swarm here for Team 1. They want to secure the air above it for the Corsairs that are inbound. Who are they targeting first? I feel like Touch My Omen's a nice target, and that's what they're going after. And he's now dropped into the yellow. He has 86 hit points a second regen, but those Corsairs do not get a second pass because those ASFs come in for Team 2 and wreck their shops. Does look like Team 1 will gain some air control for now, but again, at 15 minutes, not a huge issue if you lose. You know, if it's like 7 ASF to 0, it's not a huge, or 3 in this case, not really a huge issue for now, essentially. This is obviously, it's all in the realm of for now. We have Kane on an upgrade for stealth, probably go for nano after that. That's usually that chain of upgrades. We have T3 land and almost T3 air here for the player of Insular. He's going to do both Fields of War, which might be a detriment because he's splitting his attention between the two, but that could be a nice boost. If Team 1 can secure the air, he can just be more of a support role. We do have 2 players on Team 1 going for T3 air, and they've achieved it so far. Of course, Sorcery has kind of been not kicked to the curb, but he has a lot to catch up on. He's only producing 66 mass, which is not a lot considering Kane's at 64. That must be a power-related issue. Kind of. No, not really. So it does look like Sorcery has a couple of more T2 mixes, so that's probably why his eco's comparable to Kane. But in terms of military prowess, Team 2 really leading the game here with a nice army, but they are starting to face higher tech units from the players of Insular and Spectre Slave. Players of Touch My Omen and Ramper have to retreat in face of this. They won't be caught unawares, especially while T3 units starting to make the appearance here for Team 1. Team 2 does have T3 land and T3 air, but not everybody does, and it's starting to show. A bunch of pillars is good, of course, and it does look like omens are being produced here from Mythologist, and he needs to start using that advantage. They are engaging here to the east, but a couple of Ilshis versus a decent amount of hoplites. Hoplites, of course, they are missiles, so they can miss. They're short-range missiles, so they don't miss as much, and they do AoE damage. But I feel like in this confrontation, if it was the same amount of hoplites versus the same amount of Ilshis every day, bet however much money on it, they just put out a lot of damage. Those Ilshis, the rockets from the hoplites can miss, and so in that kind of scenario, maybe they do a little more damage. But if you miss 30% of the time, it doesn't matter, but really doesn't matter if your shots essentially hit every single time. This isn't enough to hold back Team 1, but of course, if Team 2 were to quadruple that is starting to be some point of contention. I would have liked to see some rhinos in this mix for tankiness. there is a loyalist in there, but just Rhinos just have the tankiness. Hoplites only have 550 hit points. That's where the Ilshi shines at 2,500 hit points. Sorry, yeah, not 25,000, 2,500. For some reason, I felt like I said 25,000, but anyway. We are seeing shields here for Team 2's player of Ramper, boosting his unit's effectiveness in defense. And now we can see the Ilshis just start burning through those hoplites. Now they're targeting the loyalists. That doesn't really help my conversation earlier. But those hoplites do have, I think, the better range, just barely. That does give an advantage to them. Advanced Nano here for the player of Touch My Omen. Wants to regen his hit points quite nicely and get a nice boost to them as well. Team 1 is starting to build up their ASF forces. Same with Team 2. They are behind, so Team 1 does have the advantage in the air at 19 minutes. Nano Repair on the way for Kane. I did mention he would go for that after Stealth. It does look like the player of Sorcery starting to just focus on eco, not even really focusing on building up, technology, which is, he does have T2 to the east, but, he really should probably get some T2, T3 engineers on the causeway here on the field, because he's at 20 minutes. He should have access to T3 units in some form or another. Essentially, everybody else, I think, in the game, except for Rampura, but he's going for an upgrade as of yet, so he's not out of T3 running yet. But essentially, everybody else in the game has access to T3 technology in one form or another. He needs that extra build power to start ramping up his eco a lot better, or just building stuff very quickly. But in terms of overall, no one owns the middle of the map. This is now no man's land here in the middle. Team 2 and Team 1 really don't own more or less like actual land mass. Team 2 and Team 1 own the plateaus, but Team 1 is starting to lose theirs with a couple of missile launchers here from the player of Mechs. And I'm not really seeing a huge amount of effort from Team 2 to really push this eastern side. There are Harplites engaging those Ilshis once again, and you can see those rockets do miss a decent amount, and those Ilshis are starting to rip through those Hoplites. There are some Loyalists coming to augment those forces, but a brick or two or, Rhinos would be a lot better, just because these Hoplites really lack hit points, and so you really need to have them not be the front line, but maybe be the second line behind the Rhinos, preferably bricks. But if you can't get bricks, get Rhinos. Well, get Loyalists. If you can't get Loyalists, get Rhinos. There are some Othams and a lightning tank on the causeway. I keep saying causeway. On the field here for Team 2, pushing eastward. And that's a decent amount of units that could probably take this force out with the assistance of these Othams. But if these Heartlights start picking these Ilshis off one by one, it's not really going to go his way. He needs to call these back. A decent-sized army in the middle here for Team 2's player of Ramper. Hasn't engaged yet. Fears Team 1's defenses and forces, but there is a push to the west. But that is a lot of Utashalas for Team 1 units to really charge through. And you can see now the, not ineffectiveness, but the inability for the direct fire weapons to really target units. They essentially target the same unit, and so it takes them a while to then recharge. Not that long, but instead of triads where they fire, reload kind of thing. Advanced or region or going down for Omen. He doesn't have any units near him except for a couple of engineers. Maybe he'll build a chicken and just escort it. But the air grid here for Team 2 is progressing quite nicely. He is building a nice mass fab farm here for the player of Touch My Omen, though, so he wants to ramp his eco quite quickly. In terms of leaders for eco, Spectre Slave has now jumped for his team. He's in the lead at 235 versus 228 for Team 2's player of System Failure. And we have player of Insulner at 200 and No Fear almost at 200. And that's really about it. And let me know down in the comments who you think is going to win so far. Really, it's kind of anybody's game right now. Ecos are starting to separate. Team 1 starting to get a little bit ahead. Team 2 has killed off a player, but that has given Team 1 more control over, the same amount of resources. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to win. I don't know who's going to win. Of course, I just make sure that the game runs and there's no issues, and so I don't pay attention to who wins. I like to watch it almost at the same time you do and cast in the moment versus casting with, obviously previous knowledge. And sometimes that works, and sometimes that doesn't work. But, of course, please hit that like button if you've been enjoying so far. And, of course, if you haven't hit that sub button and been enjoying this one, or just the videos on my channel in general, I would encourage everyone who hasn't to do so. And the Column of Cain is really pushing forward. Is this a misclick? No, he's going for he's just going to... Well, no, maybe it's a misclick. A couple of Volthu start shooting at him, though. He needs to get out of there. Not a good position to be out in the open. There are ASF starting to hover around Cain. Don't know if that was a misclick. He isn't saying anything in chat. Oh, they do spot not Omen. They spot a monkey, Omen says. And that thing is almost finished. Will be the first experimental of the game. It is the cheapest, of course, so it's, obviously the easiest to build. But I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one chicken or, something on Team 2 side of things. But air grids, mass FAF farms, air grid. Not really anything online so far. It is going to be a huge missed opportunity if they don't start getting into that experimental phase of the game. Team 1 wants to make some progress. This is the largest concern, at least on the ground, of course, for Team 1 against Team 2. This is a massive army, a decent... I mean, that's a lot of shields, mobile shields at that. And they are covering, spearheads. I don't see a lot of... Well, we have monkeys. I don't see any T3 units in terms of Perseus or Titans. I don't know where are they going? They're going over here, but the units are going around, so some of the units will be posted up here just because of how the positioning works in FAF. But I don't see any effort from Team 2 to really get into that T3 game in terms of, mass spamming those types of units. Does look like there was a fight here to the east. Team 2 either retreats or loses those units here from Mythologist. Aras on the way here for Touch My Omen. He's given up his gun for Aras. 33 mass a second, 38,000 hit points on that commander. Very chunky, and he's only at 1 veterancy or 1 star. So a decent amount of hit points to go for him. Well, one solitary little demolisher here for Team 2's player of Ramper going after these Titans here to the north. And they aren't shielded, so they're... no. Oh, they're just assisting the shield. They're not upgrading it. Thought they were upgrading it. Very disappointed. Not enough E-assist system failure. Making a comment about energy. I think Sorcery... Is he suffering power? He is suffering power issues. When that mass FAB comes online, he'll even suffer even greater. I find it interesting that the other team's player of system failure makes a comment that one of their players, being Team 1, doesn't have enough E, but I guess he fixes it now. Oh, okay, that's interesting. He was losing it. Oh, nope, there it goes. He needs to get his eco sorted. You guys are annoying. It says Spectre Slave Cain. Comment to the west, or ping to the west. Don't know what that's about. Oh, I'm not in Overseer. There we go. But it does look like the fight will start to commence here with a solitary chicken. Does have some support behind him, but isn't next to him. Titans starting to emerge here for that front line. It does look like there was a push to the east, but a wall section will make it very difficult for those units to traverse that side of the map. And this monkey is just going to completely just ignore this base, just walk away and go westward, I guess. Wanted to kill that mast in the middle, and that's it? That's not really that useful. Just give Team 2 time to build up units and defenses. We do have a squadron of gunships here. The Restore is good at AA, not good at ground units. Not good at taking out ground units. So taking out a monkey, unless you have 200 of them or 100 of them, then it's not really going to do a whole lot. And in terms of time, we are at 27 minutes. Team 2 isn't going to the experimental game as of yet, just going straight eco. Well, no, there's one. We have Omen going for chicken. So we actually see maybe a use for that advanced or regen for his chicken. I don't see... There's a second one being built by Mythologist, so possibly 2 chickens here for Team 2. But a nice size Air Force and secondary Air Force here for Team 1 versus the Air Force of Team 2. Sorry about that. Team 2's player of No Fear. And the ASFs do engage. The secondary force does engage the Restorers, while the primary force targets the main force here for Team 2. It does look like it is mixing in quite well. Ooh, it's going to be close. There are ASFs coming in. There is a secondary force and tertiary force coming in from 2 other players here from Team 2. And it's going to be close. A lot of ASFs will die in this engagement. But it does look like Team 1 might win just... Oh, it's going to be close. Either it's a stalemate or a draw in this case, or it's not, you know, if it is a win, it's not by that much. The restorers are targeted. Lightning tanks will take out some of those ASFs here for Team 1. But the ASFs are going to engage those restorers. Oh, there they go. They're being shot down by those missiles. And there goes the last one. Oh, there's one more. That one wants to join his brethren in death. But Team 1 secures the air victory. Not by much, though. They don't have that many remaining forces. They can't really push the air advantage with only 25. I mean, a couple of SAM sites and maybe even some flak would be able to deal with most of that. Or some lightning tanks. That also helps. Does look like transfer of control. Not transfer, but I would like to see maybe those units go over to Rampart just to manage them a lot better. I get Mythologist is probably building his own land force, but just to see them microed by the player they're literally like in the midst of. Mist. I can't say that word correctly. Very much easier, but it does look like the forces from Team 1's player of Spectre Slave was taking out this base and then transferred over to Insular. He's going to control essentially the west and central lines for Team 1. And Team 1's going to leave Spectre Slave to this eastern side for now. And essentially Team 2's player of Rampart just walling off all of the sections, forcing his enemy to either break down the walls individually or run them over, or engage in this kill box he's formed. And really, it's a good strategy. The only issue is if there's artillery in range, it just consolidates your forces and just makes it a very juicy target for artillery or missiles, either or. But, you know, artillery is cheaper, and once you build it, it just keeps firing till it is. Please, T3, says Mythologist, while probably talking about an engineer. That is a nice air grid, and it is very cascadable. Just be very careful with how many PGens and how he spreads them out. I would like to see him decentralize it a little bit, so it's not all in one. Kind of like this, except, you know, multiple lines of it. I haven't seen much of anything else right now. I don't see any artillery as of yet. We are at the 30-minute stage of the game. We should see somebody try to go either nuke or artillery. There's a crab on the field starting to be built and a fat boy. But I hear chicken fire to the south. Chicken staying out of range while this chicken here for Team 2 is just slowly picking apart Team 1's front line. And the units are given the order to move. There are Percy's intermixed with bricks. The bricks are going to be the... How much hit points are there? 7,500 versus 7,200. So same amount of hit points, but rapid fire versus single fire. And those Percy's will be able to do lots of damage to that chicken at once and then have to wait for reloads. But it does look like a secondary chicken and a third chicken is coming in for Team 2. So 3 chickens in the middle for Team 2. That is a significant amount of mass and firepower. I kind of would like to see Touch My Omen on the front lines to regen those, but it is a risky play, of course, especially with all these T3, and there is a T4 unit here for Team 1. Would maybe like to see the monkey is moving over to protect the center line. I would like to see some movement on this eastern side just to divert some of these forces here in the middle. It does look like ASF forces are gathering here around these chickens, and a couple of, you know, shields will help protect most of the chicken, but the very tip top of those... Oh, is the head covered? Almost the entire chicken can be covered by those T3 mobile shield generators. And now with 3 chickens on that front line under the control of 1 player versus 1 monkey and a bunch of Percy's, those Percy's are going to start retreating. These bricks need to come in and assist, but they are running in the face of those chickens. It is not looking good here for Team 1's front line. They need some assistance. That crab has come online, and it is moving southward, but that monkey is not in range. Its secondary guns are, but there it goes. Doesn't matter. Here come the Percy's. The Percy's now decide to turn around. Probably should have done that a couple minutes ago anyway. But the secondary chicken is in range of the 3 chickens here. The bricks just, it's just very bad micromanaging here. A couple of PD do open fire to this Western chicken. The hill has the advantage for now, but in terms of FAF, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. And all those Percies have been dealt with, and now focusing on the chicken. I don't know what this chicken is doing. It's retreating. It's heavily damaged. But the forces in from Team 2's player of Ramper are pushing forward, and that is a nice assistance coming in. The chickens open the door, and they're going to just push on through. The first chicken is down for Team 2. The crab is able to target that very weak chicken here to the west. Let's take a look at hit points here. That one is in the yellow, going to drop to the red here pretty soon. This chicken barely alive at 10,000 hit points, and that crab will provide a nice range bonus for Team 1, or nice advantage, I should say, and will allow Team 1 to hold this position for now. The mass does reside on Team 1's side of things, so very easily reclaimable, but Team 2 does want their mass back, so they might want to push again, but those look like they might be going southward. If they continue this push, this would force the units out of position and over here, but this is a tougher base to go through. Utashalas, shields, there's a couple of forces on the ground as well, so it's a tougher nut to crack. And a nuke has been launched. It's from Team 1 using the edge of the map to at least hide it or prevent it from easily being spotted. And it is... Oh, don't tell me you're going for that. Oh, wait, hold on. Where are you going? Are you going for this base here for a 40-year-old man? He has a transport waiting for him. He's on board. He's getting out of there. Base just finished an SMD. Either it targets the land forces or it's targeting that base. It's targeting that base. If it drops to the land forces, it would be nice, but it's not a huge target here for Team 1. They have their own... Team 2 has their own nuke that was just finished. And there it goes. It will land. And we'll take a look at it as it sets off. Kaboom! The third best looking nuke in the game. Of course, the worst is the UEF. I say that almost every single time a nuke goes off in the game. Is not the prettiest. The UEF one at least. But the 40-year-old man is running around the map, or flying around the map, I should say. And is pumping out a nuke as we speak with some hives. Start launching nuclear hellfire against his opponent. ASFs have been transferred over to Team 2's player of No Fear, so Team 2 is really relying on No Fear to manage those ASFs. And besides the two nukes, I don't really see anything else that's like, oh, there's a big giant target that we should go after. Oh, well, there's this. Team 2 is getting into the artillery game with Mythologist, and he's building a Cybran one. I don't know. I don't know what the ranking is in terms of what's the best T3 RD for each, between the different factions. I think the Duelist has a video on it, but the second nuke for Team 1 is launched pretty quickly. A lot of mass, a lot of effort is going into this nuke. And if this could launch... Don't tell me... Okay, I was like, don't launch it there. Where is it? Wait. Where is it going? The only thing... that's not on a collision course with that comms base. What is this going for? Is this SMD online? This would have been a nice target. That wouldn't have worked. It probably would have covered this base. That would have been a nice placement. Killing... no, it wouldn't have killed it. Oh, it does go for this. It just looked... The angle looks kind of weird. And there it goes. It is dropping down. Kaboom. Takes out everything but two mass storages. Team 2's player of 40-year-old man or system failure is really feeling that pain right now. Losing mass and a lot of effort. But he does have a nice air grid to play with, as well as a nuke here in the back that he will soon be pumping a lot of mass into. Empty base was nuked. There's just comments in chat about it. Second almost done, says Spectre Slave. Maybe talking about the bug, which is very interesting to see bugs used. Did it? Wait, this was the other bug. Did it die? Oh, it's right here. Team 1 has a decent amount of experimentals on that front line. Team 2 doesn't. But they're focusing more, I think, on the late/end game phase where they have artillery starting to come online. We have multiple air bases and a artillery that is actually about to finish for Touch My Omen. And he's building as many T1 PD for teledefense as possible. He has the regen aura, 246 hit points a second. I still think the telemazer will kill him if there is no PD nearby. But that's still a lot of hit points. That is a lot of hit points per second. And I don't really see anything else here for Team 1. I don't see artillery. Bases are starting to be shielded at least a little bit. Quantum Gateway's coming online. There is a Disruptor coming online here for Team 1's player of Kane. And there is a Hovertham, but I think Team 2 will finish theirs first. Yep, there it goes. Then the Pigeons will come online. Needs more shielding. You can't use chickens for shielding. Sorry, I understand that you want to build chickens for guards. I get that. But it's not the same. It doesn't work the same way that you think it does. And I know he does. It just looks funny, of course. But I don't see, again, not a lot of conflict here in the middle of the map. We have a little bit of PD creep, but not really a whole lot of effort here. We are seeing that Fat Boy start to open up. We see a Fat Boy here for Team 2, so the UAF player is going to throw some shells at one another. I wonder if they use tungsten for those shells. Yeah, those are shells, so maybe they're tungsten. I don't think they're aluminum. Aluminum's too weak. Yeah, I feel like tungsten would work. I'm just thinking about the comment from Halo 3's campaign about the Scorpion tank. But anyway, we have artillery shells essentially passing by each other in the night, or at least up in the the high atmosphere. They are targeting the artillery here for Team 2, and for Team 2, they are targeting, I think, the same thing. Or maybe they're going after the air grid, which I feel like one artillery isn't really worth it to crack the shielding. I feel like targeting something that doesn't have shielding is a lot better. Just because it's like, yeah, it's one artillery, maybe one shield will go down, but the other one will come back up pretty quickly. Like, you don't have the oppressive fire needed to keep the shields offline. But now there's a secondary one online here for Team 2. That will start being a problem. And as long as it focuses the same thing, which it is not, it's going for the air grid. Very interesting choice. Let's see if the first shot lands pretty nicely. It misses. Takes out some P-gens, but those are Team 1, and those aren't really worth it at this stage in the game. In terms of mass per second, we have 2.1, so Team 2 has really scaled their eco, jumped ahead of Team 1 at 1.9, and in terms of total mass, they're at 60,000 mass more. And essentially, Team 1 is behind in the artillery wars, 2 versus 1, or 1 versus 2 if you're looking at it that way. But they, of course, they have this nuke. They are really pumping a lot of effort into it. They already have one loaded. They're going to have a second one loaded here pretty soon. SMD4 says sorcery. Well, he assumes it's 4, but it is only 2, or almost 3, so he's not completely wrong. Why are they regenning? Why are they reclaiming the P-gen? Oh, because it's if you can't tell, you don't have the little. There's like these 2 dots and the little line connecting them. Or actually, it's 3 dots, and it looks like he placed it just a little bit off, so now he has to move it. That's very funny. I mean, it happens. Mistakes are made, and it's a really easy fix. It is annoying, I might add, but it's an easy fix. But a large amount of ASFs. It's kind of starting to worry me. And there's a group of strat bombers going straight for it. Team 2's player of sorcery making a play here, and then decides to call it off because it's a better idea to not do that in a large amount of ASFs here. There's a lot of TMD, not a lot of AA here, but I feel like Mike's, I mean, he's in a corner. He has a decent amount of ASFs, but he isn't really doing a whole lot. He is protecting the nuke, and he's building some mass fab farms and has an SMD, but really doesn't have a whole lot in terms of active warfare on the map. You want to go after a target that is really doing either damage or has a lot of eco. Usually that's what you want to target. And Mike's isn't doing that right now, so going after Mike's isn't really what I would go for. And, I mean, I probably would go for I don't know. It's kind of hard to pinpoint who you should go after because there's a lot of shielding. And, of course, some of the comms have, this one in particular has a lot of hit points, so you really have to chew through those. But Team 1 has lost their Hovertham. They're building a satellite now. They've lost their Disruptor as well. Team 1 has no way to fight back. They're building a bunch of bugs, but, it's not really going to matter that much if you lose the ASF war. There are 3 bugs I wonder where they're going. ASF starting to clear the way here. There come the bugs. They are inbound. We've got a nice view of those bugs coming in. You can see the ASF war here to the little, well, actually it's south, but north for the camera angle. And they're going straight for Omen, it looks like. Here they come above the mountainside here, but there's a lot of emphasis on these bugs and a lot of emphasis on these ASF. The chickens are retreating to probably protect their master. None of the bugs have fallen so far. What are they targeting first? If they're going at, well, one dies, so that doesn't work. The second one will die here pretty soon. A lot of ASFs die right there. Probably get shot by the bug. The shields are down, and I don't know if they'll get a lot of lasting damage. Let's see, the bug has like no hit points left. Will they get a cascade effect? Gets one P-gen, gets a second one. This fourth bug comes in for assistance, kills the Hovatham, and now they're going to go after maybe some SMD. And there's a rush to build SAM sites, and you know, AA as we speak. SMD does go down. Ramper is in the middle of nothing now. Target, okay, target this. That'd be a good thing. No, target the mass FAF. They have less health. And oh no, you would have killed it if you targeted the mass FAF. But the fourth bug is coming in for the nuke. Oh no, it's coming in for the disruptor. And it just barely doesn't get underneath the shield. Some of the gunships can get underneath the shields, but a decent amount of flak has been built up, and more is being built as we speak. The shields are holding for now, but they are starting to crumble. Hit points still now have dropped into the red. It's going to be a close engagement. Shields are crumbling. Oh, pigeons will not die. The bug will not be killed off. Team 2 staves off a total annihilation of their artillery and just gives a bunch of mass. They killed a Hovatham. A second one, it was just started. The comm of, where did the, oh, he went over here. Comm of Touch My Omen left. It just went, nope, I'm out of that mess. And Team 1 still has a bug on the field, but now there's a heck of a lot more AA to deal with. That was a move they can only pull once. That was an opportunity for Sorcery to come in with his Strat Bombers and maybe go after a target, but going in with one, that's not going to work. There it goes. Hit points falling very quickly. Going after the SMD. He's not going to get it. He's not going to get it. Nope. It was too late on that. Should have either came with the Roop, or and here come the Strat Bombers to the west. Going after the SMD, which is a good target, of course, because the only thing to protect against nukes are SMDs. But there is a decent amount of shielding. Is it enough? It is not enough. The Strat Bombers are killed off. Again, should have done it when the bugs were attacking. Unfortunately, they did do a decent amount of damage to Omen's base, but just couldn't pull it out at the end. Would have liked to grab this, of course. If that satellite comes online, that's a nice juicy target. It is now online as I say that. So that would be my first target, is going after that mass FAF farm, just blowing it up, probably targeting this one. Shield will go down, target at this one, and then cascade. But Team 2 now has air control for now until Team 1 builds up a bunch more ASFs. We have a crab and a monkey versus a FAF war, and that crab's going to eat up a lot of artillery fire, but I think the crab is faster than the FAF war, at least that's what it looks like. There's not a lot of defenses on the ground, and a lot of the units are retreating. They need to stand in front of that satellite over the top, killing an artillery station there. I think it was a clink hammer. Team 2 is losing their front line. They need to do something about it. They have a line of artillery here to the east. I like how they're spread out too. They're not just, on top of one another. But the shield is down for that FAF point. He needs to get out of range and now get underneath the shielding. It's not getting there. The crab has stopped moving. The FAF boy will escape. The monkey is in range, but the Percy's are as well. There goes the crab, and two more bugs are approaching. There's a lot more ASFs for Team 2 to use. Team 1 does not have the ASF to protect those bugs, and having them just kind of hover there, 3 bugs, excuse me, not really going to do a whole lot, unfortunately. It's a very buggy game. Ha ha ha. There's my dad joke for the game, at least the first one of the game. But artillery still raining in on Sorcery's position. There isn't nothing here. There isn't nothing here. There really isn't nothing there. Team 2 has to know about this base. They do know about it, so target this thing. There's a 4. Okay, you have 4 nukes. I know you're waiting for the SMD to fall, but you have 4 nukes. You can target something. Well, maybe not. Maybe you can't target anything. We have the Calm of Cain here to the western side of the map with a gun and Nano. What is he doing? You know, Team 2 has some bombers inbound to assist, and Corsairs. Oh, sorry, these are Nothas. Are inbound. Cain, what are you doing? Do you want the game to end for yourself? I don't know why you're over here. You can see those fighter bombers are coming in to intercept. He doesn't have a teleporter, so he can't easily get out of this mess. I don't know if he wants the game to end for himself or whatever the case may be, but he is eating fire constantly. You know, trying to dodge as much as he can. Gets caught up on this hydrocarbon, targeting the SMD, and there he goes. That fat boy says ramper. I don't. What do you mean? What? What do you mean? Oh, that one. But a nuke will launch. There isn't an SMD to protect this land army. And so now it'll nuke the mass too. But the Monkey Lord has already been scooped up. The first nuke will launch. He has 3 more, of course. Maybe he was going for this SMD. There's nothing over here. There's just mass. There's no... I mean, yeah, mass is important to take out. But there's no, like... not oppressive. A second nuke will launch. This nuke will actually miss a lot of that land force. There it goes. Takes out a shield, and essentially that's it. That's really the only thing of note. Where is that? Okay, I thought that was Team 1's nuke. That is Team 2's nuke going for this position. There is a lot of bugs in this game here, respect to Slave. He wants to win by bug, and he is not stopping. Look at all the T3 engineers building bugs. That is a lot. That is a horde. I don't know what they call a what the a lot of locusts are called, but that's what I would use for this word. There's just a heck of a lot of locusts, whatever that word is called. But there are ASFs coming to engage. Are they the bait for Team 1? And one nuke will go down. 2 bugs will go down. This was not a good strategy. 3rd bug will go down. This was not a good idea. And we have some AA spread out, but not a whole lot. Team 2's main air force will retreat, but they have a lot of ASFs compared to Team 1. So even if they lose even half of what they have, they still have air control. So it doesn't really matter. Team 2 lost 3 bugs in that engagement. They have the mass, but they lost the bugs. Definitely not the best idea in that scenario. Artillery still focusing on sorcery. Is starting to puncture those shields. There goes 1. There is 2 online here for Team 2. We have 1 artillery here. Is 3rd, and the second one's right here. 3rd one coming online here for Mythologist. We have a 4th one and a 5th, so 3 online, 2 on the way. And we have a Scathis on the way here for 40-year-old man or system failure. There isn't a Paragon, which, I mean, I feel like in this game, I don't think you need a... I mean, every game is nice to have a Paragon if you're an Aeon. But I think artillery is where the game is going. Another nuke is launched. Where is this one going? To this position, that nuke will fail. Unfortunately, here for Team 1. Did he max out on storage? I think he did. I think he maxed out, which is why he fired one. But he is really loading those nukes. Artillery is focusing the Calm of Sorcery, and there he goes. I caught it just in time. That is the 3rd kill on Team 1. It is now a 6v3. I don't know what Cam was thinking. Don't know why he did that. And now I think there's some annoyance that people built artillery, and Team 1 isn't really doing that. We have only 1 satellite online. There is... I thought that was a YOLO. It is not. Team 1 needs to get into the, game ender phase of the game. I do get he wants to end the game with bugs. It is not going to work. There is so many ASFs and now a heck of a lot of AA online. In FAF, I've learned this. If you use a trick once, more than likely that trick is not going to work again. So if you want to use it, you better make sure it works, or it is not going to look good. And now the bug producing facility is now under threat. Shields are going down. The engineers have to get out. Why are there so many bugs? There's 7 online currently. The 8th one is being built as we speak. That is so many bugs. There is still enough air forces for Team 2 to deal with this. And I think those ASFs are just going to engage. Nope. Oh, they go, nope, don't want to engage that. System failure could have gone after them. They can't see them for now, but once they come in vision range, he will definitely target them. But artillery starting to just pummel Team 1's base. There goes some of the cascade here. Not a good place for Nightly to stand there next to some P-gens, especially the T3 variety. Are they targeting the comms directly? I mean, it kind of looks that way, huh? Insular is not under shield coverage, hasn't taken a shot yet. But there goes that production base starting to fall. And there goes more of that air grid. The comm of Nightly hasn't taken a hit yet, but that P-gen is very close to dying or blowing up, whatever the turn of phrase you want to use. Yeah, I think an artillery is targeting the comm of Insulated directly. Look at that. I mean, they killed one comm with artillery. There is a satellite over the top here for Team 2's player of Ramper. He is the UEF, of course, so that's kind of a very standard procedure here for UEF players is build, satellites. And there goes that base there for Spectre Slave. The SMDs are being targeted. Oh, that's probably what they're going after is the SMD. That would make more sense. And this might be a direct... No, it's going to miss. And Team 2, they really, they had a point where they were starting to struggle, but they held off that bug push. And now they're just using that oppressive fire and taking out all of those bugs here for Team 1. They won't be able to use them. There's a lot more AA now, but now Team 2's Air Forces from Mike's come in to assist. One bug has fallen, 2 have fallen. They're trying to retreat to some form of AA base, but there is not a lot. 3 fall, 4 fall, 5 fall, 6 fall, 7 fall, and then I'm assuming that 8 will fall here pretty soon. There's not enough AA coverage to deal with this ASF threat. So all of those bugs have been killed. Oh, no. Oh. 1 survives. One out of the 8. Shame we lost there. My reaction would have worked as Spectre Slave. I mean, maybe. It would have probably worked if you built like 8 or 9 of them to begin with. I dominated with my Fat Boy, says Ramper. I mean, yeah, you have 2 Fat Boys. Nobody cared about land. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the sentiment for a lot of players in this game. There goes there's the kill on Nightly here. He stood next to some P-gens. Wasn't going to last very long. The chickens are pushing that front line. Spectre Slave is going to just charge the enemy with his last remaining bug. The bug will die to AA fire from the chickens, which is very kind of sad because those chickens do not have very good AA. Oh, it's still... it's keeping the same amount of hit points. It's starting to lose hit points, but the comm of Spectre Slave is cloaked. I don't think Team 2 can see him. They see the shots fired, but they can't see the comm exactly. Touch My Omen makes the comment about the Soul Ripper. Here come the ASFs to kill that bug. There they go. It is dead. I think Spectre Slave is he's just going to walk. He's just going to walk straight there. If there's any spy planes in the area, they will notice him. And they still haven't seen him yet. You can see his... You see his footsteps? He should be... Oh, there he is right here. You can kind of see his footsteps right here. But that's if you really zoom in, and you have to really zoom in to see that. And at this stage, you're really not going to zoom in that close. You will see the shots firing, though. If you could kill the 2 Fat Boys, that'd be pretty impressive. 5 to 6. I have 2. Forgot BJ was UEF, so we didn't even think about Novax. He was the only UEF for his team, yep. But Insulator dies to Mythologist. Looks like it was by artillery fire as well. Chickens just pushing that western side of Team 1's base. And I feel like Spectre Slave is going to kill off at least 1 Fat Boy this game. I could have just sat spammed. I mean, yeah, you could have with all that mash you spent on bugs. But, I mean, how many Novaxes does one person really need? I mean, there is a game that answers that question, which is like 10. It is the most popular video on my channel at currently almost 2,800 views, I think. People love that video, and I'm very grateful for people loving that video. And just chickens just being oppressive here. Team 1's player of Sorcery did build that nuke launcher. It's under Spectre Slaves' control, but he has 4 nukes. Team 2 about to have a flawless game here. It's very sad to see nukes not be launched and kill something off, but he kills both the Fat Boys. Good on Spectre Slave. Another one down to Spectre Slave. That was... oh, my God. Well, I wouldn't say that. Fear me. just the trolling going on in chat by Spectre Slave is all... that some of the... But as much as I get on players about, you know, like harping on one another and needless, you know, I even forgot to put maze. It's true. He doesn't even have the maze on. He has the teleporter though. No, I keep thinking the teleport. That is cloaking, not teleporter. But Chicken's still pushing this western side. Still haven't done it yet. Still killing a glitch probably. How can it be? I still have units. I'm long dead. Oh yeah, he does have units. That's kind of weird. Huh. I mean, the mass converted over, transferred over to Spectre Slate, but not, no, he still can't. Oh, that's really weird. Yeah, he still has units. Look at this. He has units roaming the field still. That's really weird. I don't know if they spotted him yet. Have they spotted him? They still have not spotted the Combo Spectre Slave. How are you still alive, sir? You are trolling the game. Of course, now those nukes were not being able to be launched. Very disappointing. I'm going to report that bug. Yes, please do. That's a very weird bug. And all the ASF are just hiding around. We have a line of artillery being built by the player of no fear, because why not? And now we have a cloaked commander shooting ASF. We have, just think about that for a second. We have a cloaked Cybern commander shooting grounded ASF. And now he's going to walk right next to a person and just go, hi, I can select commands, but they are not doing anything. Oh, weird. He's going to run into that little cliffside there. First goes, oh, looks like he's ran out of energy. No? I don't know. Why did he turn it off? Oh, he turned it off. He turned the cloaking off so they would find him. Ravager fire opens up. Bunch of bombers overhead. Doesn't look like anybody would have noticed him for a while. GG's in chat. GG's all. Yeah, we'll just sit here and watch the rest of Spectre Slave while he walks around the map by himself. We have a lightning tank firing at him as well. This is a very weird way to end the game for sure. I killed 2 fat boys with my comm. That is an achievement, sir. I am proud of you. I feel, yep, I feel accomplished. There it is. Ravager file still laying into that commander. Artillery still, he's just walking through miasma fire. Would have loved to see the laser on that chest, but, you know, sometimes you just forget, and I don't blame him there. He's still alive. Are they just ignoring? I donated them all to you, so you don't feel bad. That's for cheaper. I could have just spammed those. Yep, you could have, but you didn't, and that happens. Oh, that's Mountain. Is he going to make it to the main base? This is, okay. Now it's just getting ridiculous. How long? He is still in the yellow. How is he not dead? I mean, we have bombers, flying on top of him. The enemy team can see him. He's literally walking into his base. Fat boys are satisfying to micro. I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with that. They kind of are fun to micro. But, especially if you use their building mechanic on their backs. Has the turn radius of an 18-wheeler. That is definitely true. It does have a turn radius of an 18-wheeler. It's on tracks. What do you expect? It doesn't have, it's not a 4x4. It can't just have all-wheel drive. But that, how? Go right, says 1v1. Okay, now ACU versus ACU. Oh, nice. Now they noticed. Now they noticed. We have some T1 PD building here going for the comm. He made it to the enemy base. He walked essentially the entire width of the map. Death by 1,000 cuts. It was a fun game. All those bombers die in the sky, and that is a flawless game here for Team 2. Very weird way to end the game. I mean, very weird. Like the last 5 minutes was just like, how is he walking all the way over there? Don't know. And yes, that is a GG from Spectre Slave. Good on him. And that is again, flawless victory here for Team 2. And in terms of underrated player or MVP, since we have we have some Joes and some pros in this mix, it's kind of a hard decision because we had Spectre Slave for a very long time, had, so many experimental, so many bugs. He did a decent move, taking out half of the base here for Omen. Didn't get any lasting damage, unfortunately. They obviously killed artillery, but, probably would have liked to kill that SMD off as well. He's right. He probably could have spammed sats and won if he started with that. But Team 2 was more focused on artillery. No one really cared about land at 20 minutes, or really didn't even matter, except for that one chicken push. That was really about it. But in terms of underrated play of the game, I feel like Ramper did a decent job holding his front line. I I really don't know who to give it to. It's kind of weird. This match was weird. It was a weird match. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, was this nuke even used? I think it was used once. I don't think this nuke was used over here. This one was barely even, was about to be loaded by No Fear. So I feel like in terms of MVP / underrated, I think I'm going to give it to... Ooh, I'm still deciding. It's still... Because I don't think one player like really outshined all of them. I might just give it to Spectre Slave just due to the fact that he was able to walk. I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident or both, but he was able to walk his commander all the way from his side of the map to their side of the map. No one. He had to turn off his cloaking because no one saw him. He did have a nice strategy with the bugs. I feel like had he waited to build up, those 8-9 bugs at a time. At that time, and then ran them in the first time, I think he would have got a lot more work done. Team 1 would have still had ASF to support those bugs. And so I feel like even though he executed it a little bit too early, I think the move from Spectre Slave was very, like, it was the biggest move in the game in terms of like a single move. So I think I'm going to give it to him. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about that. Am I right? Am I wrong? How'd you feel about Spectre Slave just walking across the side of the map without, crossing across the map and no one really noticing him, killing 2 FAF points by himself? Let me know how you feel down in the comments. Like the video if you did find it enjoyable. And of course, if you haven't hit that sub button, I would greatly appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much for watching till the end. And I will see all of you in the next one.